up, everybody? My name is Sophia.
And my name is Carly.
And this is You Got, a Game of Thrones podcast. Interesting. Today we are dissecting Season 6, Episode 3, Oathbreaker, one of the most heavily anticipated episodes for multiple people for multiple reasons. Before we get into that, though, I want to do something completely crazy off the reservation. Are you ready?
I don't know.
Carly, I just want to know before we get into any of this, I want to know what your beard rating was for this episode.
This is like, okay.
Yeah, throwing a curveball. I know.
Throwing those curveballs.
So, beard rating, what was it?
Okay, I think, all right, mine was, I'm going to give it a Davos.
What?
I know, I knew you'd be happy with this one. But because it's getting a little splotchy with age, but it's still majestic, like just so majestic. He looks like a catfish with the blue.
Catfish?
Glorious whiskers.
Oh my god. Okay, I don't know what to deal with first. The fact that you Davos looks like a catfish. That's my newest. That's what I have to get over now.
Beautiful.
Okay, so you really liked it. But this is the first time.
Yes.
This is the first time this season that Carly and I have not been together when we watched an episode. So there was sort of that we had to deal with. But I'm actually really glad because it allows me and you to talk about this episode without knowing what each other thought of it. So you really liked it.
Crazy.
I, on the other hand, am giving this episode an Alizar Thorn.
Oh.
I know. I mean, for me, it was just sort of disappointing. Like, the intention...
That's low, though.
I know. The intention was there, of course, but the execution was poor. And much like Alizar Thorn's entire existence. Like,
you brought that one together, though.
Yeah, I try sometimes. I don't know. This episode, like, there were so many cool things that happened. So many cool things. We got to see the Tower of Joy. We got to see Jon Snow murder Ollie and get revenge. We got to see so many things in this episode. Rickon Stark came back. And I'm so appreciative of all of that. But overall, it fell flat for me.
Well, you're not the only one who feels that way either. I was reading this thing on Vox, that was Vox.com, that was basically saying that all the episodes of Game of Thrones now feel more like trailers of Game of Thrones, where you get a lot of really cool bits, but then they don't know how to really tie a story together in between.
Yeah.
Which I actually feel the opposite. I feel like this episode and the episode before, Home and Oathbreaker, I thought that they were the most Game of Thrones-y feeling episodes that have existed in a long time, since like seasons 1 through 4.
And I love that. I love that because I loved Home so much. Yes. Like I reveled in Home. I was so great. Huh?
We screamed and there were tears.
Yeah, there were so many. And so I guess like during the episode I watched it and I felt a lot of things, but just sort of going back and thinking about it, there are just parts of it for me that don't really click. And we're gonna get right into it. So, honestly, of course, I feel defeated, which is totally natural when you learn that Rickon Stark is Ramsay Snow's newest plaything. Like, of course,
it hurts.
Of course you're gonna be disturbed. But let's just break it down, and let's start with the good stuff. Let's start with the highlights. You know, let's ease it in. Carly, what was your major highlight of this episode?
Okay, major highlight. So we're going to talk about this, but I was super excited about the Tower of Joy, and I think I was only excited about it because everybody else who read the books was excited about it. I have not read about it. I just knew what it was. I was joyful about the Tower of Joy because everybody else was so excited, and I was like, this must be a great thing. And so it happened on the screen. I was watching it by myself, and so I was like, this is great. Everyone's probably freaking out. And then I talked to you and everybody else, and it was like,
Well, okay.
I was so disappointed.
There seems to be a lot of miscommunication between book readers and show readers at this point, and I want to clear the air. Obviously, we believe, and I can't speak for all of the book readers, so let's just, you and me, non-book reader to book reader, we're just going to talk it out. So, obviously, the Tower of Joy, you don't read it in the books, you just learn about it. There's never, a scene that you see Ned Stark fighting with Howland Reed against Sir Arthur Dayne. That never happens. All you get is Ned's memories. So he remembers finding his sister in a pool of blood. He remembers murdering Arthur Dayne. He also says that Howland Reed, he would not be alive if it weren't for Howland Reed in that fight. He says it in the books. And so,
Huh.
I don't know what happened in the show where, like, people thought Ned was lying about defeating Arthur Dane, but, like, he says in the books very straightforwardly to Bran, or to someone, I think it's Bran, that I would be dead if it were not for Howland Reed. And so that's like a very, for me, seeing Howland Reed, stab Arthur Dane in the back, that was great. I was like, yes, thank you. Because we're seeing that Ned Stark does need people to work with. My issue was that they have been building and building and building it up. And I felt this, and, I noticed this halfway through this scene, that the fighting was taking way too long for us to be able to go up into that tower and stick with Bran for another 10 minutes.
It was like in Star Wars The Force Awakens when, oh my god, I don't even remember who says it, but they're like, what's the story? And the little, like, cantina lady basically is like, it's a really great story for another time.
Yeah, right, exactly.
It was basically that plot thing, and I was like, okay, they're just putting it, like, they could just do this all in one episode, but whatever.
Right, and so it felt very like we were all ready. We heard Lyanna's screams, we know she's giving birth, like, it's all set up for us on a plate, and then they just took it away.
Ugh, the answers are so close.
And that's my biggest problem, is like, they promise these things and they promise these things, and it just fell so flat. And if we had just gotten to see a baby, man, I would have loved this episode. This episode would have gotten everything from me. I would have been like, yes, like, it gave us what we wanted. It didn't fall flat. And I think a lot of their choices it comes to do with pacing. They don't want to do that reveal too quickly. They're not ready for it. And that's okay. But at the same time, give the people that have, read the books a little bit of something to stick around for, It's like, come on, throw us a bone here. Don't stick us the finger. Like, throw us a bone.
Yeah, that's fair, because, I mean, it kind of does fall back on the whole shock value thing that they do, and that they've been doing, like, that they did really a lot last season. I don't know about this season yet. But they keep doing it with Ramsay, like, it's like, oh, look how bad he is, and it's like, we get it, like, the shock value isn't working anymore, but I think that's what they're probably trying to do, is, like, building it up so that, the shock of whatever we find in that tower, and, like, whatever the answer is it, really hits hard, but, I mean, it's weird, because the pacing's strange in this season, just because they drag certain things out too long, but then, in episode 2, Jon comes back.
Exactly.
Like, right off the bat.
Off the bat, he's not dead for 3 episodes.
No.
He's alive at the end of the 3rd episode that he's supposed to be dead in.
Yeah, he's basically dead for a couple hours.
He's in the show, he's dead for a few hours. Yeah. No, I just think that I loved the fighting of the Tower of Joy. Holy crap. Like, Sir Arthur Dane with 2 swords fighting off 6 guys. I loved it. I ate up every minute of that, for sure. I thought that was fantastically done. It was beautiful to watch. It was great, and it would have been even better had we gotten this gratifying experience at the end of it. Instead, they hint on Bran can somehow shout through the past.
Okay, yeah, what was that? This is not like, I was going to say Back to the Future. I guess, sure, why not? It's not Back to the Future where it's like, we can change the... So that was weird.
Yes.
I don't know what they're planning on doing with that, or why.
It's not necessary to play games with us. Like, instead it just feels sort of like shoddy storytelling. And, like, I have to remind myself, like, it is a TV show, and of course they do need to time things out and pace it out, but it would have been so much more gratifying had Ned gone up there and seen Lyanna, and then they cut. Yeah. Just to at least even see her.
Or
we
didn't
get to see.
Went up there and looked in the room, and we don't know what he's looking at.
But at least we're seeing something on his face, and that would give you a reason to want to keep watching. Instead, the 3-eyed raven is like, no,
I did have one problem with the Tower of Joy scene, and it's that they cast Ned so young.
Oh my god, I know!
Yeah, like, Jon in the books is, I think, 15 in the first book.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how, it's not that long ago, and somehow Ned, in, like, 16 years or whatever, has aged from, like, this young person who is at the Tower of Joy into, like, a man.
Old, and also, it can't have been that long, because at the time that the Tower of Joy happens, he's already married to Catelyn, and he already has her pregnant.
Oh my god.
That's how the timeline works in the Tower of Joy. So, I don't know why they made him so young. I thought he was a great Ned, but not for the age that Ned's supposed to be in the Tower of Joy, unless they're changing it back, they're shifting back the age. Because Ned and Catelyn are aged super hard. Everybody is aged up in the show. In the books, they're all a lot younger. So this Ned would make sense in the books.
That is true. Well, in the books it would make sense, but, I mean, it's weird that they would even try to change that around in the show.
Right. Give us Sean Bean.
Yes, Sean Bean.
If Civil War can make Robert Downey Jr. look young again, please.
And tall.
Please. Which, by the way, great movie. I saw that yesterday. Whew,
oh boy. My God, I'm not seeing it until Tuesday. Next Tuesday.
Girl, get on that. Don't tweet her spoilers then. It was amazing. That's all I have to say. But yeah, so, okay, Tower of Joy. Just overall, like, not seeing Lyanna Stark must have been the cruelest part of that. I mean, it was just despicably cruel. And we all prepared ourselves for it. We were like, yes, we know what's about to happen. We know. And then they just, no, it didn't happen.
Well, the worst, too, is that, see, now you're like,
I'm turning
I still
you.
really like the scene, but you're kind of pulling me back over the line a little. Because, like, to play devil's advocate about it, we did have a lead up to seeing her last episode.
Oh, absolutely.
When they were like, oh, hey, Lyanna, like, on your horse. So it's not like they haven't led up to that before. They didn't need to do this. They're doing like a rule of three thing where it's like, oh, the third time we'll reveal her. And if they don't, it's going to be like, come on.
No, and next week, there's nothing in the promo has anything to do with the Tower of Joy.
Oh, I doubt it'll be in that episode.
So
I bet that was in episode 2.
They're going to push it back again. We're not going to get to know the lineage of Jon Snow for a while longer. It's just going to be one of those things. So I agree that scene is fantastic. Everything about it, the fighting was so cool. Definitely one of my highlights, also one of my biggest lowlights. So, what you gonna do? As for one of my highlights, I mean, I gotta say, like, this also goes with the lowlights. No, it doesn't. It doesn't go with the lowlights. I love seeing Rickon again.
I did too.
Oh, I did not see that coming at all. Like, at all. I should have, but I totally didn't. I didn't know it was going to be Rickon. I didn't know it was going to be Osha. I had no idea they were going to kill Shaggy Dog. That was really sad.
I didn't either, and, like, I was talking to a friend today about it, and they were like, well, nothing good ever happened. Like, they were, doing something mean to the Starks again. Oh my God, they've never done that before. And I was like, okay, given that logic, like, yeah, maybe we should have known, okay, it's going to be Rickon, because it's going to be a Stark. Like, they're just going down the line.
Yeah. But to see
know,
him again, and to have it be the same actor? That's huge. That's a really big deal. That's awesome. And they kept that a secret. So good for them. Unless they didn't, and I just missed it somehow.
It's the one secret they managed to keep.
The one secret they managed to keep was that Rickon Stark was coming back. No, I really liked it. After 3 seasons of not seeing Rickon and, like, knowing sort of who ends up with him in the books, maybe slightly, we're not sure. Like, I was really excited to have Rickon back in the show, and this is very different from how he would be re-entered in the books. Like, extremely polar opposite differences. No, maybe not.
How did he come back in the? How did he enlighten me?
Enlighten you? Oh, you want to know? You want to know? Okay, book spoilers for anybody that doesn't know this. So Davos actually is sent to recruit Rickon again.
Oh.
By Wyman Manderly, who's actually one of Kyle's favorite characters. He's a big fat, like, he's House Manderly, dude. He gets sent by House Manderly to Skagos, which is an island of cannibals, where apparently Rickon has gone. So that's, like, where he goes in the books. He's a very... I don't know. We're not sure. And this could totally... It could totally, like, be a runaround, and Davos could go there and die, and there could be nobody there, but the whole... In Book 5, Davos' last chapter is learning where Rickon is.
Oh.
So, it's a very, very... It was not expected at all by book readers, by anybody, so it was really cool to see him. And I'm actually, like... Okay, I know it's gonna go badly. Like, I want to believe that somehow there's gonna be a coup, and the House Umber is actually really allied with House Stark, and they found a dire wolf that wasn't Shaggy Dog and cut off its head. But, like,
oh my God. That was one of my 2 theories. You literally just said it word for word. I researched it. I was so happy. I was like, oh, it's going to blow her mind. But literally, I have in my notes, I will read it to you, word for word. Shaggy Dog head isn't Shaggy Dog's head. Some speculating that the wolf head didn't actually belong to Shaggy Dog, and that it's the Umbers being, like, part of a bigger conspiracy to overthrow Ramsay.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
pretty much was my thought.
Awesome. Glad I'm gonna delete that from my notes. Now we're on the same page.
Well, I mean, they totally makes a certain amount of sense. House Umber, especially in the books again, and I have to say it, this episode was very book heavy. It was extremely book heavy, and I don't know if it's them flipping off book readers or them trying to like get us to trust them. I'm not really sure what's going on, but entering of all the houses to have House Umber be the one to turn on the Starks, it really just doesn't make any sense. Because the Umbers are so entwined with the Starks. They are so, like, Great John Umber, especially in the books, and Small John is the one that delivers Rickon, for sure.
Oh.
But Great John, we've seen before, and I think he just goes by John in the show, but his name is Great John, and he actually, I don't know if he's the one that dies in the Red Wedding or if it's his son, but they both fight during the Red Wedding with the Starks.
Oh,
so it's a lot of them get murdered. They lose a lot of people because of Roose Bolton and because of the Red Wedding. So I don't know. Part of me is like, yeah, that really smells fishy. Ramsay, you better watch your back. And I hope it's Rickon that kills you.
Oh my god, that'd be so good. It would be so freaking good.
I would love that. I would love nothing more than to have that happen.
That is all I want. That's it.
Rickon killing Ramsay. We would never see that coming.
If that's the only thing Rickon ever does in the show ever again, I'm okay with it.
Mm-hmm. Same. Because he would actually be given a character choice. Like, he'd be given agency. Sorry, that's what I meant. He would be given agency again, because right now Rickon has literally just been a doll that's dragged around by people, by Bran, by Osha, by Hodor, we knew that he went to House Umber, and he's been at House Umber for however many years it's been since they broke up in the first place. So, like, I don't know. It's all just a little bit like, are you guys really bad? What's gonna happen? But, or Ramsay's just gonna torture him.
Which, oh no. I feel like that's gonna happen either way, which is the sucky part.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think Ramsay's gonna die in the next episode somehow.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Alas. What
Stick
you gonna
around.
do? So, okay, cool. There we go. We did that. That was a highlight. It was actually a highlight. Like, that was really great to see Rickon again. And Osha.
That's awesome.
I love them. Another one of your highlights, my dear.
Another one. Okay. This is just literally a line that happened in the show, but Davos's reaction to Jon coming back was easily my favorite line in the entire series. Because it's like, it was such a fan reaction. Like, it was, in that moment, we were Davos, like, and Davos is us, 100%. Like,
we finally feel something with Davos. The rest of you guys.
I understand.
You get it. He's the audience. He is the audience in the show.
He is us. He's one of us. I just loved it. I thought it was so funny how he was like, you were dead, now you're not. That's real effed up.
Something's wrong with you. No, I totally agree. I love it. I love it. I really do think, I totally agree. That was, man, and to have you say it.
I know. I thought that would make you happy.
That makes me really, thank you. Thank you.
You are welcome.
Because also Davos got to hold Jon's body. I really liked that. He was like the first person that that touched Jon after Jon came back, and it's such a fatherly, like, I'm doing this movement with my hands, and I don't quite know what it is. It's like monster claws, but like in wrapping someone up. I don't know. He's like, I don't quite know how to explain it, but
picturing him like hugging Jon, just like, I'll never let go, Jon.
Yeah, I'll protect you forever.
Forever, I'll pet your glorious.
It's okay, kid. It's okay. Yeah, and I totally agree. Davos saying that. In that moment, he was all of us, and it was so perfect. And that's sort of he's the vehicle for that now. It very much feels like Davos is the vehicle for regularity and normalcy. Yeah. And I'm appreciative of that.
I like that. Yeah, it's good.
It's good. I mean, he's my man. I got him on lock. Liam Cunningham. Anytime you want to talk, let's you and me.
Davos talk.
So to sort of like hook off of that, I think one of my top moments was Jon leaving.
My God, when he said, and now my watch has ended, I
lost everything. I know. And he just walked out. He walked out. It was incredible. I was like, wow. Because it has. You serve the Night's Watch until you die. And he's dead.
Yeah, that's why, I don't know. I'm like, okay, I get why it's called Oathbreaker. I get that, like, even if you died, still breaking an oath. But I feel like he didn't really break the oath. He just kind of slipped out of it.
I don't know if Oathbreaker was in terms of Jon or if it was more geared toward House Umber breaking their oath to the Starks. Like I don't know what Oathbreaker was. Like Brienne wasn't even in it. So and her sword is Oathkeeper. So I feel like she should have at least been in it. Oathbreaker. But I'm really appreciative of Jon also handing over the Night's Watch to Ed.
Oh.
Thank you. Put Ed in charge. I love Ed. Like, yes, I love it. And I really liked all the stuff with the Night's Watch, actually. I don't want to say a highlight is a child being murdered, because that's very questionable.
Yeah.
In terms of a lot of people, but there is a BuzzFeed article that is literally dedicated to Ollie's death. So I don't really feel that bad.
He was kind of the, oh my god, why am I totally blanking? Not Ramsay.
What?
Oh my god.
What are you
Cersei's son. What the
Joffrey.
frick is his name?
Joffrey.
God, it's been that long since it's been on the show. I just wanted to put
It's only been like a year it's been 2 years.
It's been a long time.
Joffrey.
No, but Joffrey, like, he was kind of like the Joffrey of the Wall. Just since he was a child that we all were okay with watching die.
Yeah, it was so great. It was actually Joffrey's death really messed me up for different reasons. Really? But I will say that Ollie's death did not at all. I was just like, what I really wanted was for Ghost to like rip him apart. But
would have been so much
better. It's okay. Here we are talking about how we would have preferred a child to die on TV. So, no, but what I will say is I really liked what Alistair Thorne said at the end before he died. And it sort of goes back to what I said about the beginning of the episode, is that he had a very realistic and down-to-earth explanation for why he did it. And he said, he was like, you were dead. We were okay. Like, he's like, you shouldn't have come back to life. You know, that's sort of what he's saying. He's like, I did this because I love the Night's Watch, and these are my brothers, and I have to protect it. I did what I had to do, and I would do it again, even if I knew that you would come back to life.
Well, that's one of the things I liked about this episode a lot, is that between that, Davos saying, like, this is weird, and even if it's not book accurate, Ned, the reveal that Ned basically lied about winning at the Tower of Joy, on his own anyway, to his son. One of the things I really liked about this episode was its kind of grounded honesty.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
It wasn't like, John's back and everything's great and oh my god, like it's all gonna be okay. Like it was like, no, there's a lot of shit going on basically.
Yeah, they were like, let's not sugarcoat this at all. He's back. He's seen the other side. He's terrified of it, and he's gonna leave because
there's nothing happy about his return.
Nothing
except for us.
Us and that's really it. But like I really appreciated all of the watch stuff. All of the stuff on the wall was very much a highlight for me in terms of this episode, because it's new territory, but we're also seeing Jon grow in a way that he's never grown before, and I have no idea what he's gonna do now that he's not a part of the Night's Watch, because that's literally all we've ever known him as.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But I'm excited. I use that word so much, but it's so true. I'm really looking.
It's the only word to describe.
I could use so many better adjectives to describe like how everything, but I'm excited. Let me feel excited.
So much excitement.
Let me feel excited about this, because I love it. All right, highlights. Do you have any more?
Yeah, I think the only one that I had was just that for me, the show is starting to feel like it did in seasons 1 through 3 again, just vibe-wise, which is really nice.
It is nice. That. It is. It's a good one, and I will say a special mention to Arya. I really liked her training montage.
Oh my god! So
we were transported to Rocky. I really appreciated it.
Yeah.
All I needed was Eye of the Tiger playing over it, and it would have been like a perfect.
Eye of the Tiger, like dun 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 dun.
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, I love it. Dun, dun, dun. But I really like that, and I liked her getting her eyesight back too. Even though I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm really excited for her to take over Westeros, because it's gonna happen, y'all. Totally. For Arya. Okay, lowlights, which we talked a little bit about, but I do want to say there are 2 characters that we've got to talk about that are in this lowlight section that we both agreed on.
Do it.
Sam and Dany.
Oh, God.
We gotta talk about it.
Sammy
and Danny.
Yeah, man, like, talk about the two scenes that I honestly forgot even happened because I
Right?
did not care.
Oh my god, except for King's Landing, which we're gonna get to later.
Oh, yeah.
Which doesn't even get a lowlights, it gets an entire section. I just, like, the Sam stuff makes no sense to me. It made sense, I mean, like, it makes sense, I don't know how to say it. It makes sense in the books because when they leave, he knows it's gonna be a long time before they see each other again. And it's going to be a very, like, intense time. It's going to be, like, 10 years before they see each other again, probably, because becoming a maester takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
In the show, the way Sam phrased it and the way they have it working out, somehow they're going to Hornhill to drop Gillian the baby off. And then Sam is going to move on to the Citadel, where no women are allowed, so he can become a maester, which takes multiple years. Yet he says, I'm going to become a maester so I can help John in what's happening really soon. And I'm like, sweetie, do you know what becoming a maester even means?
Yeah. Like, the maesters we've seen are all pretty old for a reason. The ones who...
Yes, exactly. It just didn't, the timing makes no sense to me in it at all. We haven't seen Sam for a few episodes, and now we're gonna go to Hornhill this season, and we're gonna go to the Citadel, and we're gonna do both those things over the course of the next 7 episodes, which just seems like so much time.
Oh my god, it's so much time. It's so much unnecessary time devoted to that going on, because, like, when the decision was made, like, I'm gonna become a maester, it was great. It was like, okay, good.
Go do that. Go do that.
Time, but you're living the dream. Like, go do it. That's what you're meant to do.
We love you.
And it's like, oh, I'm back. I don't care.
No. And if he comes back with not even a maesterdom, like, it's not gonna matter. It just doesn't. So it was really frustrating to me. The timing of that doesn't really make any sense. Like, how honestly, dude, really, how is this gonna work? How is this gonna work?
Unless he's like the equivalent of Rey. I don't know. This is the second Star Wars reference, but it's happening.
Great.
Unless he's the equivalent of Rey in The Force Awakens, where it's like, oh, I didn't know I had the Force, except I can use it perfectly now.
Yeah.
Like, maybe that's gonna be him. Is like, oh, I don't know how to be a maester, except now I know everything there is to know.
Yeah.
So maybe he'll be like a prodigy, and then that'll be how it works.
I mean, he is a reader. You know, he reads a lot.
He does.
I don't know. It just felt like there was a lot of. We could have gotten that conversation done in 30 seconds. Like, it did not need to be this, my parents don't like me, you can't come to the Citadel, I gotta, Hornhill.
It took so long.
Forever, and then I forgot it happened.
Yeah.
So,
it
didn't matter, and so I'm really just trying, how much time, realistically, how much time does Sam have to spend in the Citadel before he can come back with to be an actual maester for John, who is not even at the Night's Watch anymore?
I give it 3 days.
Yes, that's all I have to say about Sam. It was a low point for me. And Danny as well. Do you want to take Danny for a spin?
I do, yes. In my notes, I literally have Danny / Dothraki equals New Dorn, because it's...
Oh my god. It's a low blow, Carly.
I'm sorry. Like, first of all, I cannot not bring up Dorne, because it literally is it's the bane of my existence.
It was mentioned in this episode, but not in it, thankfully.
Yeah, oh god.
That's the saving grace of this episode, was that Dorne wasn't in it.
That was the best.
Yeah.
But I kind of do feel like Danny being in, being where she's at is kind of going to be the new Dorne, just because I feel like it's going to go on for a really long time.
Yes.
And I don't really care. Like, I feel like they're just kind of killing time with what
Very
she's
much
doing.
feels that way.
Yeah, like, it doesn't feel like it actually is necessary to progress it, or to, like, pushing the story forward.
No, not at all. It's like, she's gonna go there, and she's gonna stay there, and then Jorah and Daario are gonna come, and they're gonna get her out, and then something's gonna happen, and nothing will have meant anything.
Well,
that whole thing will the whole Vice Dothrak will not mean anything. It will have been a blip on the radar of Danny's ridiculously long journey to get from point A to point B. Actually, Z. It's point Z, because she's hit all of these points along the way that don't matter.
No, yeah. I mean, I totally agree. It's kind of like a Rube Goldberg machine where they're just kind of like coming up with crazy ways to
Yeah.
get to the same result, and it's like this is so unnecessary. But I do have a theory for later about
Ooh.
how this could actually end up being really cool
Okay.
if they choose to go this route. But
I mean, I love it. Let's not waste any time on Danny. It was nothing happened. They had a conversation, and she was like, "No, I'm not. I don't need to be here." And they're like, "Actually, yes, you do. It's part of our culture." And I'm like, "Danny, it's part of their culture. Like, if you leave, they'll murder you."
seriously,
Sweetie,
like,
what did you just allow it to happen until you get saved? Because it's gonna happen. You're not, and I don't want her to get saved. I want her to save herself. But
yes.
she honestly being oh god, what is the name of it? I don't remember. But being one of the women that are in Vice Dothraki, that's a really big deal. Like, they run the place. I don't know, it's boring, but like, she could actually learn a lot if she like sat down. I don't want to see it. I'm just saying she could learn a lot if she sat down and actually listened to what these women were saying.
She
like,
could add it to her very, very long list of titles.
Exactly. Literally all the stuff across the Narrow Sea was boring. The Tyrion stuff was boring. The Varys stuff was kind of okay. The Daenerys stuff was really boring. It was just like, oh god, what is the point of this? What was the point of any of it?
No, I totally agree. And Tyrion was actually on my list of cons because not Tyrion himself, but how they're using him, because he's just been like comic relief and useless.
What was that whole the conversation he had with Missandei and Grey Worm was a circle.
My God.
It was just a never-ending circle of we're not gonna laugh. Stop trying to make us talk. And like, stop. It was so. I was just like, okay, all right. Peter Dinklage was in Emma territory, and now I'm not quite sure what he's in because like after home, it was such a good episode, and you were like, yes, Tyrion. And then in this episode, you're like, what are we doing? You didn't need to be in this episode.
They're just treading water. It's like, oh god, what? And that scene was so long.
Oh my god, dude. So long. I don't even know what happened in that scene. I know that they decided that they're gonna fight conflict with conflict. At the Maesters, but like, I don't. Or no, not the Maesters. Sorry, the Masters.
Yeah.
Difference.
They're gonna get Sam down there.
Big difference. Yeah, because the Masters are the ones that are fueling the Sons of the Heartbeat, which of course they are.
Yeah.
Of course.
That was not shocking.
It was just slow. That was the slog of this episode. Was just all the stuff that happened overseas that didn't get us any closer to the goal.
Yeah.
That was really frustrating for me.
Treading water.
It is treading water. Yeah. Okay. Do you have any other cons?
Too much humor. Which
I know. Okay.
You get it.
Okay. I was gonna talk about this later. I even wrote it down.
Oh.
Maester Pycelle Toot. I wrote that down because he does that. I wrote down Maester Pycelle Toot.
Oh god.
Because there was a point in this episode where Maester Pycelle let out a little gas.
Oh god.
And that was the tipping point for me, and I think that was at the beginning of the episode.
So basically, this episode had fart jokes and
dick
jokes with Jon.
Yes.
Good. Oh, and I think Tyrion also.
Tyrion made a joke. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was too jokey. It felt okay. I don't even know how to say it. It just felt very disjointed. This episode felt very like all over the place. Funny moments, really horrible moments, really bland moments, and it was like they were trying to cover up the bland moments with the funny moments, but it just didn't work for me.
It's like a dash of sugar in like a steak or something. Like,
right.
You want the meaty.
I mean, I appreciated the conversation about Jon's penis. Don't get me wrong. Really, it was fantastic. Yeah. Don't especially when Tormund is talking, because of Jormund. We know. We love Jormund. We support it.
Jormund is the best.
We don't shy away from Jormund here, people. But yeah, it was just overall the funny parts. I totally agree.
It's just like if you're watching Game of Thrones and you think, you know what, I really like this, but it really needs to have more parts I can laugh at, then you shouldn't be watching Game of Thrones. Yeah,
you're there to scream a lot.
Yes, and cry.
Yeah. Okay, so those are the lowlights of the week. The highlights section sort of turned into lowlights, and I'm sorry about that. But what you gonna do? When you've got someone who really liked this episode and someone who really didn't like this episode, you're gonna get that. So now, of course, it's time for your moment of the week. which is a what? It's your Carly's blank of the week. What is it this week?
Oh my god. I think I was trying to decide this. This is the one thing that I had a really hard time with.
Okay.
Because I wanted to say Tower of Joy. But now I feel like I can't.
No, you can. You are absolutely allowed to say that you love the Tower of Joy because it was fantastic. It was.
I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna say Tower of Joy just purely because I really like that they're inching closer to fan theories actually probably becoming reality, which is like a big deal. Like, it's not often that actually happens.
No, it never happens.
It never happens.
It never happens. And this is Game of Thrones we're talking about. There are so many theories that go everywhere, and this one theory is about to be proved, and that's huge. It's a really big deal. So it's a really big deal. I'm with you. I think that it was a really beautifully laid out scene and beautifully done. I just wish it had gone on for 5 more minutes.
I can
not
feel
even
the strain in your voice. You're like, it was really beautiful,
really good. It was really I just wish it had gone on for like 30 more seconds. That's all I needed was that 30 more seconds, and I think that would have changed this episode for me.
That's fair, yeah.
So I'm totally with you. Absolutely was a moment of the week. What type of moment? For you, it could have been best. For me, it was like, like I literally just sat there. I was sitting there and I just made that noise for a second. I was just like,
choking on just the story of.
It was frustration.
It was a blue ball moment where it was just like.
That's exactly what it was. It was a blue ball moment. It was beautiful. Okay. So I agree. That was a beautiful moment. I would arguably say that was one of my favorite moments too, because we got to see Ned again, and I love Ned.
Oh, the best.
I love him. I just don't ever, like, when I go through life, I think about, would Ned Stark do this? That's like my thing. What would Ned do? Would he be proud of me if I made this decision?
Wow.
No, he wouldn't. Am I gonna do it anyway? Maybe. Who knows?
That's a way to live right there.
Inner monologue I have with myself about Ned Stark quite often. Okay, so let's move on to my one session of griping. I get to choose one thing to gripe about, even though I griped about a lot this week. One thing gets all of my attention, and that is King's Landing.
Huh.
It had to be said. The fact is, whatever the hell is going down in the Red Keep just isn't enough to keep me entertained anymore.
No.
It doesn't matter that we've got these characters that we've loved, we've hated, we've grown with for 6 seasons. In each episode so far, all of the events of King's Landing have happened so much closer to like the beginning of the episode, and because of that, memories of watching those things fade as the rest of the episode gains momentum and interest.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
And it's so they've been doing that for this whole season. All of the King's Landing stuff has been at the beginning of the episode, and all the other stuff has been at the end. And so it's really easy to forget about everything that happens in King's Landing. Like you said, Sam and Danny were 2 things that you forgot about. I forgot that there was a freaking small council meeting in this episode. Nothing got done. Yeah, nothing got done. And the only reason I can tell you who was on that small council meeting is because I really love Kevin Lannister and Olenna Tyrell. Thank you for putting them in the same room. Bless you. I love it. Thank you. Like, seriously.
It's always good for when they're.
I'm really grateful. The problem, it's just frustrating to watch, especially when you see how much goodness they've got to work with showcasing Kevin Lannister and Olenna Tyrell. You've got Lena Headey. You've got these people that know what they're doing and know these characters. And it's not going anywhere. And if it's going somewhere, it's slow and you don't really care. Cersei's gonna have a tribal combat. They said that in the episode, and zombie Gregor Clegane is gonna be her dude to fight. Who knows when that's going to happen? Another Trilac combat. Who do you think they're going to pick? It's probably going to be his brother. Who cares?
Yeah, and oh man, I do feel like that's just going to take forever to actually get to. And I agree. Like it's so painfully slow, and I also feel like they're wasting so many opportunities where they could maybe build out some characters. Like Tommen almost was on.
Oh my god, Tommen was actually a really. I kind of liked him for a while. I was like, when he sat down with the High Sparrow, I was really nervous they were going to kill him in that moment.
Oh my god, yes.
Right? I was really worried that they were going to kill him. It was set up that way,
It felt
there was...
right.
Yeah, there was
so
no
wrong.
one there besides the two of them, but one of the Faith Militant could have easily, snuck behind the doors or something. But then they didn't kill him, and now it just feels like it's going to be this huge showdown between Tommen and the High Sparrow and Cersei and Jaime.
Yeah, I was worried he was, going to leave that room and, be a changed person and be like, yeah, they're totally right. They got a point, Mom. Sorry.
Right. I don't know what Tommen's gonna do, because we don't know him. He's a huge question mark. And he's also been a pawn up to this point, and I still think he is a pawn. He doesn't have any, semblance of actual, he doesn't have any agency. He just gets pushed around by whoever needs to use him at the time.
Oh, he almost did in this episode, though. I was so excited, because it did seem like he was stepping up to that plate, and it seemed like he was becoming an actual king.
Yeah, it did feel that way. He went to talk to High Sparrow about his wife and his mom. That was a really big thing for him to do.
Yeah.
And I'm a little nervous about where it's gonna go. I don't want it to just be a holy war.
No.
I don't want that at all. I want to see something more interesting, and I don't know what I want to see, but I know that the High Sparrow is capable. He's so much more interesting than he is in the books. The High Sparrow, oh my god, yes, he's so much more interesting. I love him so much more in the show. And I think that he's capable of doing really cool things. I just don't want it to become a holy war. That's I don't, because that's sort of where it's geared toward, and it's really slow, and it's really just trotting along. And last season, everybody had to play the game. Cersei and Marjorie were playing the game against each other. They were playing against the High Sparrow. They were playing it against Mace Tyrell. Everybody was playing the game. And now it just seems like we've got 5 battling factions in King's Land, in the Red Keep, that are sort of just we're gonna punch each other a little bit, but what?
Yeah, no, there's nothing cohesive about it.
No, at this point, I almost kind of just want the High Sparrow to take over.
Yeah.
Just let him do it. He's got this huge army, obviously, that can take over a bunch of people, not even trying. They're barely trying. They're nobody, and they can take over an entire city. I think that I would like to see what the High Sparrow can do. Honestly, God, Cersei, go back to Casterly Rock and have a life where your kid is gonna survive.
Yeah.
You have one kid left. Take him away.
Take him anywhere else. Literally anywhere. That is kind of funny that she got this prophecy. Several of her children have died,
and
but she's still
there.
No, we're gonna stay right here.
I can't believe it.
Oh, okay, you're safe there.
It sort of shocks me to my core. And the thing is, it's all set up in a really cool way. We're actually, the setup of King's Landing is cool. We've got the High Sparrow with his crazy army, and then we've got Cersei with this skull-crushing zombie.
Yeah.
And then we've got Qyburn, who has all of Varys's little birds. That's such a cool... It could be set up so well, and instead it just sort of that is nail-biting cinema, right? I mean, that is. You've got this Faith Militant, you've got this zombie dude, you've got, I don't know, the Frankenstein. I don't know, it's cool, and yet what you get is a Maester Pycelle toot.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I mean, it's like they looked at it and they were like, oh man, we literally have every ingredient for the coolest story of all time. Yeah. Maybe we should just take it back a couple notches. And it's no, you shouldn't do that. You should run with it. You literally are set up to be successful with this story.
It's when did Game of Thrones get moved to CBS's comedy lineup? Friday night comedy lineup.
I think that's the same. This episode of the podcast, we compared it to CBS.
I compare it to the CW a lot.
The CW, that was it, yeah, because it was
even though I love so many shows on the CW, I still somehow compare it to the CW. I always end up comparing it to the CW. There is so much that we've achieved at King's Landing. Blackwater, still one of my favorite episodes of all time, and that was at King's Landing. You got to meet Tywin, and that stuff was incredible, but it just feels like it's slow and we don't care, and bottom line is, you got a stunning cast, you've got these incredibly deep characters, but you have no interesting development.
Yeah, and they managed to make a zombie mountain man.
Yeah, they have a zombie. Not like the winter zombies. They have an actual reanimated corpse.
He was dead and now he's not, except in a more creepy way than Jon Snow.
Yes, exactly. And it just shocks me that they can't find something to use.
Yeah. It's I don't know.
So, that's my gripe session. I think you totally agree. It's just frustrating. I'm interested to know, like, obviously, what you guys think, because it is really sad to me, because I think King's Landing, that's where you get, it's never been about the violence, it's always been about the game. And that's one of the coolest parts of this show, is that you can play the game and have the violence, and it all works really well together. But when the game is weak, there is no game. Therefore, there is no Game of Thrones. Ooh.
That's so dark.
I know, I got chills. I gave myself chills.
You should. Those are deserved.
Now, shall we just, like, move right on to theories?
Let's do it. I'm so excited.
Okay, alright, so I'm gonna give mine first, because it's gonna be a short one.
Do it.
Because I have a feeling yours is gonna be a little longer, and I really want to hear it. So, my theory is, it's not really my theory, it's a theory that has been sort of brought upon, especially after what's happened in Season 6. It's called R plus L equals J plus M. Which is essentially R plus L equals J, Rhaegar plus Lyanna equals Jon, but just tagged on someone else, meaning that Rhaegar and Lyanna actually had twins, and there were two men that enter the Tower of Joy. Obviously, you've got Ned Stark, and you've got Howland Reed. Reed, that's an interesting name. Who else has the last name Reed?
I do not.
Mira. Mira Reed, actually, funnily enough. Interesting how that works out, isn't it? So, the theory essentially is that, yes, Rhaegar and Lyanna actually had twins. She gave birth to twins, and then she died, and Howland Reed took a baby, and Ned Stark took a baby. Ned Stark took the boy, Howland Reed took the girl, and went back to House Reed in the Crannogs, and then Ned Stark took Jon to Winterfell, and now Mira obviously is still in the story. They're the same age. It sort of works out, and
she has his hair.
She has his hair, and it all adds up. Like, Mira is told by Leaf, who I learned the child of the forest is named Leaf, that she will be playing a major role in helping Bran later on. The real question is that too many Targaryens? Especially if we're throwing Tyrion in the mix as well. Like, at the end of the book and at the end of the show, will there be no Starks or Lannisters or Boltons? Instead, the big reveal will be, it's like, you are all really related. Like,
everyone's a Targaryen.
We got you guys big time. And then Jaime and Cersei are like, okay, whatever, I mean, that's fine. To me, this is like an extremely far-fetched theory, but the show definitely has subtle hints, aka killing Jojen off, even though he survives in the book to further Mira's character.
It's okay.
Which I'm still really upset about. Don't get me started on Jojen, I love him.
That's rough.
I guess, the subtle hints definitely lend themselves to proving this theory to be true. Plus, it would be an added surprise for book readers to see another baby. That would be a really interesting, poignant thing, because no one sees that coming.
Oh, no.
Everyone sees one baby, but two? Interesting. So,
plot twist.
It's just a theory, and Mira's, like, really good at fighting, and she's really cool. It would be cool.
Really cool.
But I don't think it's true, but it's still a cool theory.
I love it. And, I mean, this is kind of a cop-out, but it could be true, and they just never actually say it on the show.
Exactly.
So,
Interesting.
you just consider it canon.
How I consider most things. No, that's not true. Alright, so, your theory, my dear.
Okay, so my theory is not anywhere near as cool as that. That is a great theory.
Oh my god, that was nothing. I have a sentence, and it just says R plus L equals J plus M.
There's an extra letter, though, and it's an exciting. My theory has to do with Dany, and
ooh, finally, something interesting about Dany.
Well, I hope, because that's like why I really like this theory, because I was like, good, there's something to actually, like, give a little bit of hope to the whole Dany situation.
Dany deserves this.
Yes, we deserve this. We
deserve this having watched Dany for 6 seasons.
Yes.
We deserve this. I have no idea what it is, so I'm really excited.
Yes, okay, so this comes from Vox.com, who got it from a Redditor, and their name is Yahoo News is so lazy.
I mean, that's a true statement.
Yeah, I mean,
I agree.
sure, but credit to them. So I guess one of the things in the books is that Dany has a lot of visions, and it was said in this article that the Red Wedding and the slaves all saying mother were two things that she saw ahead of time. And I guess for one of the visions, it's described that she sees beneath the mother of mountains a line of naked crones crept from a great lake and knelt shivering before her, their gray heads bowed. which kind of sounds like maybe she might be taking over the Dash Colleen. And there were reasons why, and I really need to pull it up because here we go. Okay, yeah. So it's loading.
Hey, I believe in you. I'm now reminding myself about Dany's visions.
This is suspense for you. This
is real suspense. It is because I remember. I mean, she has visions in the House of the Undying, for sure. So there's that. Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. So yes. This says, in the books, Daenerys experienced many visions, blah, blah, blah. And so, okay, yes, beneath the Mother Mountains, the whole thing I just read, which is from the book, basically they're saying in this article that the Mother Mountains is a mountain next to Vastathrak, which is where Dany is.
Yep.
And the Womb of the World, which is, I guess not mentioned in the actual paragraph, but the Womb of the World is a big lake that is next to Vastathrak.
Okay.
And the crones would obviously be the women.
The women that she
are there. Yes. So that paragraph again, after knowing that that mountain is nearby and that that lake is nearby, the paragraph from the book is that Dany sees beneath the Mother of Mountains a line of naked crones crept from a great lake and knelt shivering before her, their gray heads bowed. So what I'm really hoping happens is that she takes over the entire. Yes. Yeah. That is what I would love to see happen. Just because. If that doesn't happen, why are we here?
It's very true. I mean, it is true. We're sort of our whole journey with Dany has been watching her conquer.
Yes.
So to see her conquer a different type of, maybe not even conquering, it sort of feels like she wouldn't even be conquering. She'd sort of just be in charge.
Yeah.
Like the woman was, you know?
Yeah, she would just kind of be taking. The leadership place.
I would like that. I would like that theory. And you know what? I went and searched because her vision is during visions she has in the House of the Undying when she gets trapped in there. And her visions in the House of the Undying are very different in the show than in the books. She has like a lot of them. And one of them is a blue flower growing from a chink in a wall of ice.
Ooh.
Which is a reference to Lyanna.
Oh my god.
And a wall of ice is John. Just saying. So I believe Dany's visions. Honestly. Like there are a lot. Another one, I don't know, I totally love that theory. I would love to see her not conquer, but just sort of I don't want her to conquer anymore. I mean, obviously I want her to conquer Westeros.
Come to power?
Yes. I would like her to take power.
Yes.
That's what I would like. I would like to see Dany. She deserves that. We need that. We need that. We deserve it.
We really do. This is about us.
This is about us. Let's be real. And her talking and giving her a whole line of titles is just getting boring.
Oh my god. It's getting so ridiculous. It's getting as old as seeing Ramsay do terrible things.
Yes.
We know.
Because we're bored of that now. So
bored. We know he does bad things with dogs.
Yeah, we get it. Jeez. What are you gonna do to Rickon? Let me guess. Can I guess? Does it have to do with Lockjaw?
I guess.
Does it have to do with Lockjaw and rabies? Oh man, no. You know what? I am very appreciative of any theory that has Dany doing something great, because there are all these theories that are not about her but are about Targaryens, and we've got to remember she's a Targaryen. She's like the first ever, like the first one we really knew, and that's a really big deal. And she's a lady. I want Daenerys to be like the coolest character on this show.
It would be great.
It's what I want. The problem is that the execution of her story has just been, oh boy.
It's been problematic at best.
It's been really, really slow.
Yeah, she just needs a little more. I mean, I don't know. It seemed like we were really getting somewhere last season with her figuring out that she needed to grow as a leader, and now it's just.
Well, now they've taken her away from the place she could grow.
Right.
They've taken her away from the people that can teach her.
Right.
The whole thing was her ending up with Tyrion so that he could teach her how to be a leader.
Right, and now neither of them are doing
that's
anything.
Not happening. So what's the point, people? What's the point?
What's the point to anything?
Oh, man. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
At least we have theories. We can always hold back on theories.
Gotta love theories.
So overall, I would say that this episode was a bitter pill to swallow.
It's fair.
That's what I will say. This episode was really, really great in the moment. There were so many things that happened that I loved. There were so many things I didn't like. But overall, you know, it was Game of Thrones. And it took me on a journey.
Aw.
And that's what
That's
Game of
nice.
Thrones does. I'm trying to be positive because it's only episode 3.
Oh, we have a... Yes. That's good, though.
7 more episodes to go.
The whole situation.
Tell the listeners, where can they find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter at Chillin555, which is CHILLYN 555. And then you can find me if you go to threadless.com, like the t-shirt place, as you probably know it. Threadless.com. Go to the blog. I am the content manager and the writer of the blog there, so you can find my little name and bio and stuff. And there's a couple links in there to my Twitter and my Medium account and a bunch of good stuff.
Beautiful. It's all really good stuff.
Aw, thanks.
And as always, you can find me on Twitter at Sophia M. Porter. And if you want to follow the podcast on Twitter for random polls and weird stuff, follow at YouGotGotPod. Thank you all so much for tuning into this episode. It was a doozy for sure. I mean, we both came from very different opinions. I think we found a common ground though.
We did,
which is really good. So thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you. If we haven't said it enough or at all, thank you for listening and for being a part of this.
That's a big deal for us.
We love you.
We do. So remember, the night is dark,
but full of Davos.
All right.